Breaking news as we are speaking right now, Obama will decide on declassifying the 9/11 documents within 60 days. This is according to former Senator Bob Graham, who was a part of the official investigations. This is huge breaking news, but why is Obama doing this? Why is there a mainstream media push to declassify the 28 pages? Why is this happening right now, throwing one of our key allies in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia, underneath the bus? Well, we're going to get into in this video. Obviously, this is very complex geopolitical news, but we will break it down to you here in this video. Now, the 28 pages are from an initial investigation about 9/11, and these pages have been classified by the Bush administration and kept classified by Obama. Obama, years ago, has promised 9/11 victims' family members that he would declassify these pages, but he has not done so in any way, shape, or form. We actually talked to a former congressman who was able to read these 28 pages, and what he said was shocking. You can watch this video in the description below, but right now these pages are classified and only members of our government could read it. These are some of the members who were put in this secret room with government agents all around them, searched, made sure that they had no pen, no paper, no cell phone. People can't even take notes when they read these pages, and they're doing this under the supervision of government agents in secret backroom deals. But the government officials who have read these classified 28 pages have said this. This is from Walter Jones, a congressman, and he says that it does not deal with national security per se. And of course, this is what the government uses to justify classifying it, saying that this is for national security. This needs to be classified. Obviously, Walter Jones just said, no, this is not for national security. It's more about relationships. The information is critical to our foreign policy moving forward. Congressman Thomas Macy said, "It was a really disturbing event for me to read those. I had to stop every 2 or 3 pages and rearrange my perception of history. And it's that fundamental, those 28 pages, it certainly changes your view of the Middle East." An unnamed government source who read the pages actually said, "If the 28 pages were to be made public, I have no question that the entire relationship with Saudi Arabia would change overnight." And what all of these government agents say after reading these pages is that there is a direct link to Saudi Arabia financing the attacks of 9/11 on the United States. Just a few days ago, Senator Bob Graham went on 60 Minutes claiming that the 9/11 attacks had support from within the United States. He said, "I think it's implausible to believe that 19 people, most of whom didn't speak English, most of whom had never been in the United States before, many didn't even have a high school education, could have carried out such a complicated task without some support from within the United States." Huge breaking news, but again, many people are saying, wait, this could be an outright honeypot. Why is the mainstream media doing this? Why is Barack Obama doing this? Why is Senator Bob Graham doing this? Because, first of all, Senator Bob Graham and Porter Goss investigated pretty much their own actions. They investigated themselves. When the investigation was happening, they said on record, this investigation is not to point blame or identify wrongdoing in any way, shape, or form. And then they later blamed Iraq and Saddam Hussein for the 9/11 attacks, went along with the huge lie of the Bush administration and got us involved in the war. So why are they now blaming Saudi Arabia? We have to also understand the fact that Saudi Arabia was behind supporting 9/11 is well known. On September 13th, 2011, right after the attacks of 9/11 here in New York City and Washington, D.C., the Saudi royal family with connections with the bin Laden family were put on special U.S. government flights out of the United States back to Saudi Arabia. We know that the Bush family has ties with Arbusto Oil and does business with Osama bin Laden, which the CIA created and actually had meetings right before 9/11 with inside of Pakistan. And we have the very fact that informants for the FBI's were staying with and living with 9/11 hijackers. This was all insanely important news that we have been telling you. I've been on this ever since the attacks of 9/11, and we were called crazy conspiracy theorists. We were spit at ground zero for giving people information before the internet and YouTube even before the internet was even popular and YouTube even existed. We were out there on the ground looking at all the sources, looking at all this information, and we were called the crazy conspiracy theorists for even questioning what happened on 9/11, and now it's coming all to light. And we have to understand that there's a bigger picture here. It's not just Saudi Arabia financing radical Islamic terrorism, it's also the United States. According to a new Benghazi commission and a former CIA officer who was involved in this, the Obama administration pursued a policy in Libya back in 2011 that ultimately allowed guns to walk into the hands of jihadists linked to ISIS and Al Qaeda in Syria. This is being well documented. We have been covering this here on this independent news channel for a very long time, including the fact that the Iraqi military released a video of U.S. planes flying over ISIS positions and dropping supplies to them, dropping weapons, food, intelligence, money, supporting ISIS on the ground. We have been reporting this for you for a very long time, and it has not been mentioned by the United States that both Saudi Arabia and the United States have been financing our very worst enemy, radical Islamic terrorist Al Qaeda and ISIS. This is a well-known fact, but now all the push is going against Saudi Arabia. And why is that happening right now? Well, tensions between Saudi Arabia and the United States have been very high lately, especially with the United States making a deal with Iran, especially with the United States saying that they will not back Syria, the Syrian invasion. Saudi Arabia had all of its troops and weapons prepared to invade Syria to get rid of Bashar al-Assad. The U.S. backed away because Russia was involved and stood up Saudi Arabia. And now the United States is not dependent on the oil and gas teeth of Saudi Arabia. Since we started fracking and creating our own oil and gas, we are not as that dependent and needed of Saudi Arabia, but there has to be a bigger geopolitical move that is not being told behind the scenes of why the United States, with the mainstream media, with Barack Obama, are now pointing the fact at Saudi Arabia. But we will stay on this issue. We will look at all the news and break it down here for you. So subscribe. There's going to be a lot more information coming from this important breaking announcement from Barack Obama. It will be an interesting geopolitical development, and obviously you will not hear the truth on the mainstream media about the bigger picture of exactly what's happening here. So check out WeAreChange.org. We just got a whole new team of writers, and we are stepping up our operations to destroy the mainstream media by doing their job better. Invest in us on WeAreChange.org/donate so we could have all the resources and tools to take on the mainstream media and do their job better. Subscribe. We're going to have a lot more information coming here your way on youtube.com/WeAreChange.